32.2 heads circumference. Okay, I've just measured the head, and then afterwards we'll plot it on the chart and see how it compares. Do you know what sex the baby is, Julia?
Been told it's a girl.
Right.
Julia may never be able to keep the baby she is expecting. She is blind, deaf, and without a partner. Despite this, she is determined to bring up her daughter on her own.
Look absolutely fine. The baby's growing beautifully.
Social workers will probably want to get involved, but I have already tried to make it clear that I just want support, and maybe people I can go to for advice, not interference, as I don't take kindly to interference.
Can you feel that?
Yes, I can.
Great.
Clearly.
So we have a look in British Home Stores.
British Home Stores, oh
Yeah.
right. Oops.
They've got some nice dresses, I think.
But are they affordable prices?
Who knows?
Julia's helper, Lisa, works for the National Deaf Blind League and goes shopping with her once a week. She's also one of her closest friends.
Julia's a very stubborn person, but she's also a lot of fun. We have a great laugh.
Something like that. Yeah. Oh, I see.
It's a three-way carrier. Julia's 5 months pregnant already, and I don't think she realises how much help she is going to need and how much work is involved in having a baby. I think because she is stubborn, that the help she will get, she'll resent.
Julia has been blind from the age of 4 and deaf since she was 20. Yet despite her disabilities, she has lived alone for the past 10 years.
People always say that being deaf-blind things would be very difficult or impossible. I've always enjoyed trying to prove people wrong. When I found out I was pregnant, I was over the moon, as it was what I wanted. But I did not deliberately set out to get pregnant. No way. There have been few men in my life, but I've never really cared about anyone till the last one. I think for the first time in my life, I was treated like a woman. It would really mean a lot to me if he would accept the baby, and I most certainly wish he was still in contact. But after all, it's his daughter as much as mine.
The baby's father, a married man, has denied responsibility for the child, leaving Julia to cope on her own. Social services have become increasingly involved.
For monitoring the baby's well-being once it's born, and I want the instructions brailled. Now, can I post those to you and you do them for me? Lovely, thanks ever so much. Many thanks. Bye. I've got some very difficult issues to face with Julia this afternoon. We've had the doctor saying that he's got grave concern about her. We've also got 2 of the charge nurses at the hospital saying they're thinking Julia might be having second thoughts. So at the end of the day, she might say to me, on your bike, I don't want to talk to you anymore, because I'm raising issues that she doesn't really want to be thinking too closely about.
No, I have not had second thoughts on my at all whatsoever.
Good.
sure I'm going to need some kind of support. And I will accept it. I'm not pushing it away.
Good. That will
I
make...
just don't like it. Just don't like it that all these so-called experts that just are implying that I can't manage. They'll look silly at the end of the day because I shall prove that I can.
I think you will be able to if you will work with the people who would really like to help you. That in the early stages, you're going to need to either live with someone who can help or someone to live with you so that we can be quite sure baby's kept safe and you can manage it all.
Well, I've no idea who that's going to be. So I don't want some bossy boots living in here telling me what to do.
That would make two of
And
you.
I don't really want it. Yes. No, I'm not too keen on people hanging around all the time because I'd get sick to death of them.
I'm sure you would. The other thing I want to talk to you about is about how you would feel if in a few months' time you might have to consider letting the baby go.
Christ, what a thing to say. It hasn't happened yet, so I don't know. It might sound melodramatic, but it's an absolute fact. The baby's the only thing that's really kept me alive this year, kept me going. It's the only thing I've got left.
Yes. Yes.
So I would be devastated.
It was really hard because it's so difficult to be spontaneous when I'm having to work through somebody else's hand all the time. I just wanted to give her a hug when she was so upset, but you can't do that. It's a case of standing back and saying, it's all got to come through Lisa. But I think she's going to work with us now, which is the main thing.
I think having this baby probably would be the biggest challenge of my life, as it will be a person dependent on me for the next 18 years. So I don't think it will be an awful lot different the first year anyway, as looking after a dog. After all, neither can tell you how they're feeling. You have to know by instinct.
You going to mug me?
Am I going to mug you?
Is that gorgeous or what, eh? And I believe I can run a decent marathon. Thank you very much.
Download Veely now.
The first concern often has been, is the baby going to be all right? Now that is a very real issue, and I mean most people would need reassuring that that baby is going to be safe. I mean I need reassuring that that baby is going to be safe. Not only just as a tiny baby when it's more easy to control what the child does, but as it begins to grow and toddle around and move, you know, how aware is a woman who is deaf and blind going to be of all the dangers in the house without a lot of support being put in? And that's going to be another difficult one for her because she wants to be independent. So I would move away from that feeling of I need to prove I'm all right, I'm Julia, I can do it, into I've got a lot of fears and concerns about my baby, the same as any other mum would have. And that's a very different sort of thing for Julia to be thinking about. Not being the achiever, but of being the normal adult. And that's hard.
Julia is 8 hours into labour. Because she can't see or hear, Lisa and 2 other friends are with her to interpret for the midwives and give her support.
They look painful.
They sound painful. Your graph is hitting the roof on your contractions.
Oh.
They look massive. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Is it helping her?
Sorry?
The gas, is it helping?
Yes.
That's good.
Well, she's sucking at it anyway. Okay.
God, that makes you piss.
How do you feel now?
Can't.
She came in this afternoon at 4:15, and she was doing really well then, having nice contractions. And I've discussed everything through the interpreters with her. We've discussed pain relief, but she didn't want, okay?
Did he leave any instructions?
No, because we could see the head, we thought we'd be all right.
Julia had hoped for a natural birth,
Hard work.
but after 16 hours of labour, things are not going as planned.
Tell Julia, the baby's been in a little bit of distress now because it's past emotion and the water has turned green around the baby.
Oh.
So we're waiting for the doctor to come now.
Hi.
What's happening?
Hello there, my name is Mr. Orife. I'm the registrar on call.
Just speak a lot slower because it's very signing everything for you.
My name is Mr. Orife. I'm the registrar. And I just come to, deliver baby. Because getting a bit tired. We're going to numb her tail end.
Okay. Oh.
Can you just tell her to put her bottom on the bed now?
Oh.
Tell her that she needs to put her bottom on the bed and try and lie straight. That's the only way we're going to get her delivered. Can I have a pair of tools,
Oh. Oh.
I think he's just going to have to do it because I can't. Hold on. What are you going to do?
I'm just going to, cut her now. Tell her to put her back on the bed because we can't deliver her with her,
Can you turn your back there? Bend your legs in. Can you bend your legs in there? Bend your legs in. No, there's legs. Can you bend in?
His legs go floppy.
Ow.
Tell her to bed
Ow. You're hurting me.
Tell her to bed.
You're hurting me. Ow. 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 Oh, God. You're a little bitch.
You got dogs.
Ow. Ow.
10 minutes past 10.
Ow. Ow. Bloody hell.
You've told us. There you go. Feel her face. Well done.
You're a horrible old cow.
Okay.
You, she's kicking her feet. Oh, she's getting cross.
It's 3 days after the birth, and Julia prepares to go home with her daughter, Ayla.
Another fun. Absolute fun. Oops.
You are in luck. Not dirty.
Ayla has been described to me as having dark hair and blue eyes, and that she's also very pretty. We got stuck.
Under arm.
Oh. I've never actually seen her myself, of course. But I know what she feels like. Like I know when Ayla gets very cross, just through touching her body.
But Julia is not to be alone with Ayla. Social services have moved her to a 3-bedroomed house and employed a 24-hour live-in carer to ensure that Ayla is safe and Julia is coping. Her carer has been taught sign language and is nearing the end of her first week with Julia.
It's been hard work, but I have really enjoyed it actually. Julia and I are getting on brilliantly, and she's coping ever so well. When I first moved in, I did keep a very close eye on Julia, but I've seen that she's quite capable. People come in here for the first time and look absolutely horrified at Julia walking around everywhere, even just carrying Ayla. But she's always overcautious that everything's safe, so I don't believe that I have to be on top of her all the time. I don't know how long I am going to be living with Julia. I don't think anybody knows how long she will need full-time care, seeing as that this situation hasn't, as far as we know, occurred before. It's just unknown ground.
I was very resentful at the idea of having somebody to share my home. I've had bad experience with social services in the past. They've betrayed my trust more than once. I don't like the thought that they're going to be jackbooting around in my life for a while yet.
I've been brought in as Ayla's social worker to try to make sure that she's going to get what she needs. I'm feeling quite frustrated with Julia because she's saying that's unfair. I think what she wanted was that we would just leave her alone from the very beginning and just saw what happened, and that she would be the person who would say when she needed help. Just...
Not the ends, not the very tips of the fingers, because it hurts.
Okay.
Just...
Actually, I cannot trust her to know for certain when she needs help and when there's something wrong. I mean, that's one of the things that I can't get through to her. Listening.
I'm trying to make you understand me just as much as you are trying to make me understand you. That's what I am trying to do. That's all. You're putting Ayla more at risk if I don't have more time to myself. Even just a couple of hours. I'm under pressure, don't forget, when I've got to put up with someone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
For me, you can't come first. I've said it over and over again.
I'm not saying I do need to come first. I put her first. Even the dog doesn't come first anymore.
Good.
Though I make sure he comes a good close second.
Good.
I come third. And sod me.
We're doing whatever we can at the moment to keep them together. But I need something back from Julia. I suppose I'm looking for a change of attitude. Maybe that'll come. You know, it's very early. It's very difficult for her. I know that. I know that she's someone who's been very independent. I know she is finding it very difficult to have people sort of breathing down her neck all the time, but I'm trying to give her as much space as I can.
There is a slight risk that the baby will inherit my hearing and sight problem. And I was fully aware all the way along that Ayla might develop it later on. But so far, Ayla's sight and hearing are normal. I've always more or less accepted my blindness, so it's my deafness I've always really bitterly resented. There are different forms of this condition, and if she does develop it, it doesn't necessarily mean she will be deaf. Chances are she will only just be blind.
But don't you think that people will think that your attitude is very selfish?
Me? Hell, she wasn't blind, was she? I could have aborted her without being selfish. That's being selfish. What do you suggest I do? Have her shot?
No, but do you not feel...
Well then, don't ask stupid questions.
It's 6 weeks later, and the care situation for Julia and Ayla has taken an unexpected turn.
Today I'm leaving Julia's. I think the professional relationship between us both is pretty much going. We're more sort of best friends now, really. I mean, we've been like a married couple, I suppose, over the last few weeks, you know. Well, we've been with each other more than a married couple would be. We've been with each other 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or 5 days a week. So I think it is time now to have the break.
Hi. Hello, I'm Linda. Oh, dear.
After 2 potential replacements backed out, social services finally found Linda to take over as live-in carer.
Dumped at the moment. We've just had a new settee in and things. Right, you can hear probably Julia's in the living room.
Yeah.
I've just wrote a few things down, basically, to make your life a bit
Yes, I
easier.
know what's
Julia is not very, very happy at the moment at all.
That's understandable,
Yeah,
isn't it?
basically, she's obviously mixed up quite, you know, she just doesn't want somebody else new. She's been sort of had so many different people over the last few weeks. Julia's got very, very strong character. You'll find that out quite quickly. Don't tell her anything. I mean, phrases on signing, I know they take a bit longer than sort of, would you mind if I, rather than I'm going to. But do it.
It's worth with the
Otherwise,
aggro.
you know, I mean, it's her house. You've got to accept that.
Used to it anyway.
I think with Julia, it would take time, but I'm quite a adaptable person, and I can understand her reasonings of why she's going to resent me for a while. Anna's got too friendly, and the work isn't meant to be like that. You know, it'll be quite all right. I feel quite happy.
Oh, yet again we've got a carer coming in who's finding it a major culture shock to be living with a person who's deaf and blind. I thought initially we were going to lose her within the first 48 hours, but she might stick a bit longer. 24-hour care has worked for the time we've had it in, but I don't think long-term it's the solution. It's a strain not only on Julia but on me. I mean, I wake up every morning thinking, What's today going to bring for her?
Are you feeling a bit better today?
Yes, I'm a bit down, I'll be honest with you. I haven't had a very good weekend. I'm afraid Julia and I've, well, let's put it this way, we didn't sort of hit off too well. Sorry, do you want a coffee?
Thanks, that's lovely.
I feel that she feels that I'm a threat to her, that I'm here as a spy, you know, and she just mentally, she's very draining, and she puts this barrier up against me, you know, and like to say, I don't want you nowhere near me, don't you dare touch my baby, don't you dare move, and don't touch anything. And I felt so isolated.
Yes, what I would say about it is it's the basis of the assessment we've got to get done on her.
Yes,
so
she's got to have this, I realise this. But like I said, it's a waste of time you being here all the time because she doesn't, you know, the baby's perfectly safe, she does all her movements, like I said, and she does everything to time, and night time there's no problem. Ayla rarely wakes up, she's very contented, you know.
I mean, all power to her. I mean, I think she's doing brilliantly well, and I think you've done well to have hung on over a weekend that's obviously incredibly stressful.
Yeah.
The problem between Julia and my department was that Julia resented having this intrusive 24-hour-a-day live-in carer. When we had a good look at it, we realised that we'd reached a stage where we felt there was really a minimal risk involved in allowing Julia and Ayla to have some space and time to themselves. I've now had 4 people who have stayed with you, Julia, who have assured me that your care of Ayla isn't just competent, but is extremely good. I suggested that we call the carer a housekeeper now. You like that idea, don't you?
Here we go again.
This is a major step forward for Julia. She will be left completely alone with her baby every night.
I did wonder.
The housekeeper will leave at 7 in the evening and not return until 11 the next morning.
And if they stay till 7, they can prepare the evening meal and do the washing up afterwards.
It's 2 weeks later and the first day on duty for Dawn, the new housekeeper.
I think she thinks that if she treats us all really badly, that there won't be any carers will come in and do the job. She'll be on her own, and that's what she really wants. But that won't happen. You know, if there isn't somebody here, I think the bab might be taken off her. I think I'd have to actually say to her, look, miss, you know, I'm not here for, I'm just here to help, and, you know, it'd be better you got on with me than you fought against me all the time. I hope I sort of, you know, get on with her and stick it out, and, you know, I'd love to watch the bab grow up, because it's a lovely wee thing. It just, you know, we'd like to be in here and see that. It would be nice.
I really don't know what the future holds. I hope everything goes well, but bringing up active, small babies and toddlers is a difficult job for sighted hearing mothers. And I don't know whether she can do it. I don't know whether she can do it even with help from us.
That's a good girl. 20 toes. 20 toes.
I suspect that this is the easy bit, the bit that we've just gone through, Ayla's first 3 months, while she's still a tame, immobile, small baby. As soon as she becomes mobile, which might be by the time she's 5 months old, I think everything will change.
There we go.
Happy birthday
birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ayla. Happy birthday to you. Oh.
I just find it amazing that she's a year old, and thinking back that I've at least made it through the first year. For her party, I invited what I consider some of my closest friends, some of which I only got to know after I came here and because of Ayla. One thing's for sure, I don't think I would have swapped this past year for anything. Social services were interfering pains at times, but once they backed off and left us alone a bit more, and I was able to relax more, it was wonderful.
Well, over the last 9 months, Julia's been making very good progress looking after Ayla. She's very sure of her friendship with Lisa. She tolerates me quite well. I think, all things considered, she's a lot less lonely and isolated than she has been at some points of her life. And she's feeling supported and cared for. I think she's a lot more certain now that social services aren't going to suddenly swoop in and take the child away from her, and that's helping her relax.
Look, Ayla. Shell. Buds. Shell.
Monkey. My relationship with Julia has totally changed. I think we're closer now because of Ayla and because Julia's been through such a lot, and I've shared that with her. And I think being at the birth, God, my opinion of Julia just totally changed. It's one of the best moments of my life, and I'm so grateful that I shared that with her, and I wouldn't give that up for the world. And I think that has just, like, I respect Julia so much now, and we just are much better friends for it. I don't really like children, but being with Ayla's just wonderful. She's such a happy little child. She's so into everything, and she's just wonderful. There was a time where I thought that Julia might have to have 24-hour care again when Ayla became mobile, but she won't need it. She's doing fine.
Ooh. Big fat pudding lump.
Ayla had no expectations of Julia, so the relationship's really working.
Come on.
And they've got a really good bond.
My monkey. Oops, bump. We both sat down with a bump.
Daisy.
I mean, I'm really, really pleased with the way it's gone. From Ayla's early days, I looked at it in terms of child protection issues, about keeping Ayla safe, and about whether Julia could perform the daily functions of a normal mother and keep Ayla safe and bond with her properly and help her develop.
You can't have my feet. Come on, onto the mat. There we are. Come on.
And I shared with a lot of people doubts about how she'd be able to do that, but everything's been fine.
Here, look, have a trumpet. Go on, blow us a fanfare, Puds. Yes, you haven't given her a nice swap this morning. That's a nice smelly one. Yeah, check it out. Come on, let's wash your wee face. Clever Puds. There we go, nice clean face, Puds. Good girl.
Ayla is a beautiful child. She's fulfilled all her developmental norms. She's thriving, she's happy, she knows who her mother is and goes to her readily. She has good social relationships with other people. She's just an ordinary one-year-old child. And Julia has coped incredibly well.
Come on, three. Come on, 4. Come on, Puds. 5. Come on. 6. Come on, let's go and have some breakfast. No, we don't want to go up here. Come on. Come on, what are you doing? You want some breakfast? Come on. Come on. I've been told by people who can see that it's pretty obvious Ayla is aware of that I'm not the same as other people, though I'm not quite sure how they know. They say she's a lot more sensible than most babies. She has learned not to sling her cup on the floor when she has finished with it, but she will put it into my hand, touching my arm to gain my attention to let me know she wants to give it to me. Whereas sighted people say with them she will just chuck it on the floor. She has always grabbed hold of my little finger when being fed, and when she does not grab it, it's usually a pretty good sign that she doesn't want it. Keep your hands down! Go, my angel. Ayla. No more. Okay, fine. I'll eat it then. Ayla's doing fine. I would say no different from any other little girl. I might be deaf and blind, but I'm still a mum. I'm still a normal mum. Ayla is at no more risk than any other baby, perhaps even less at risk. Because at least she's loved and wanted. Come on, boys! Many other babies of so-called normal mums are not as loved as she is. Hello, puddings!
Julia still has someone coming in every day to help her with Ayla. The first housekeeper, Dawn, left after 10 months. Louise is her replacement.
When I came here, the first thing I was told was, Julia will have you in tears for the first 2 weeks. She'll make your life hell, she'll be really horrible to you, but then after that, she'll be like a lifelong friend. But we've just never had the tears, we've never had the arguments, we've had no rows or anything. We've got on sort of from day one, so. It's a brilliant job. I'd never come in contact with anybody who had sort of both sensory defects. The things she does, I just wouldn't think possible.
That's yellow, right. I put braille labels on a lot of her toys so that I can help with teaching her colours. Okay. Right, that's right. Ho-hum. At the moment, she has a tendency to prefer to play by herself, but I try and make a point of sitting down several times a day and we concentrate together. So I hope to be involved as much as I can.
Oh, look, Ayla. Put it together then. Oh, yes, you had the right idea. Come on. Come on, look. Why don't you put them together, Ayla? You got 3 there. They'll go together. 1, 2, 3. Look.
Ayla's 19 months old now. I'm with Julia more or less full time at the moment while they look for a new carer. Louise left last month. Ayla's been in contact with loads of people. There's always been somebody here, always new faces, whereas a lot of children are shy when they're her age. She tends not to be.
Well, I'm a child clinical psychologist, and the social worker involved thought that it might be very interesting to have a look at the sort of mother-child interactions. We know that children do adapt and can adapt to their particular environments. What we don't, I feel, know is about this specific situation with a parent with dual sensory handicap.
Clever girl, well done. Clever girl.
Clever Albert. Good girl, good girl, good girl.
Can I have them back? Thank you. Very clever. Shall we find something else to play with?
I started visiting when Ayla was just under a year old, and I've just made 3 visits. But on the basis of that, I feel that she's certainly been developing along normal lines in really all aspects of development, which is very pleasing.
Where's the cup? Where's the cup? Good girl. Clever girl. Let's look at these other pictures. Where's the car? Yes, it's a car, good girl. I was going to say, how many words do you think she does know now and to use? I have heard car, very definitely.
She uses the dogs' names.
Right, right.
And Birch. Dogs and Birch, and she can say dog.
And Mummy.
Right.
Mum, more like,
Yeah.
I think. Shoes is another.
Yes.
She comes up with. And buy it.
Right, well, bye we heard very clearly, didn't we? Very clear.
And she says yuck when you change a nappy as well.
Yeah, that's very good. So she's using a lot of words now.
So, for example, if she wants a drink, how would she show you that she wants that?
Well, she wants something. She usually takes me by the hand and takes me.
Yes, I think she's probably doing a lot of communicating with you, which you don't even think about. That's the particularly interesting thing, isn't it? That Ayla is developing her own ways of communicating with her mum, that she wouldn't necessarily use with other people, you know, such as taking her mum's hand or leading her mum towards the stairgate when she wanted to go out.
Did you?
She would use other means of communication with other people, perhaps using what we would call the language of eyes, but with her mum, she knows that she must make some physical contact.
Good girl, that's right.
I certainly think that the way Ayla is communicating with her mum, and from what I'm getting from reports as well, from the little bits that I've seen, that I think she is very much adapting to her very particular and specific environment that she's in.
So we're just going in Jenny's room.
After more than 18 months of supervising Ayla's care, Child Protection Officer Sandra Power is leaving and handing over the case to another social worker.
Even if I hadn't been going, actually, I think it would have been a very good time for me to hand it over to somebody else. It's not a child protection case anymore. It needs somebody less controversial for Julia to be involved. And I'm really glad that I'm handing it over at this stage now. Well, I know what happens now. What happens is that she usually disagrees with everything that I say and argues and gets very defensive. But given time to think about it, invariably she admits there was a point to what I said, and she will then try to do something about it.
When Sandra told me she was leaving, really the first thing I said into her face was, "Can I hang the flags out?" Good job too, I say.
Her parting words were, "Good riddance, you bleep, bleep, bleep cow." But she's never pulled her punches with me. I mean, she's been a bit of a pain at times, but the part of her that has sometimes caused problems with me is also one of her biggest strengths, and that is that she's a very assertive woman. That's how she's got to the position that she's in. She's a high achiever for somebody with her disabilities, and she's absolutely determined to live as normal a life as possible, to be as normal a mother as possible for Ayla. And she has had to fight social workers and authority, and I mean, people with a disability do have problems with people telling them what to do. And I know it's been very difficult for her with me. I haven't got any hard feelings. I don't think I can say the same for her, but that's my job.
Steady. Stand, stand, stand.
Julia has a boyfriend now called John. Her attitude towards me is that it's none of my business. I'm quite happy about that. I don't think it is any of my business unless I had concerns about his safety with Ayla, and I haven't any. I think it's a really, really positive thing for her. If John becomes a permanent partner and moves in, for instance, then I think we could close the whole thing and forget about them, let them get on with their lives. And that would be a really, really good thing for them. And it would please me to know that that had happened.
That I will do it. John's someone I've known for a few years, meeting while we were doing voluntary work at the National Deaf Blind League. I suppose John and I just like one another, really. Come on, boys! Dog!
Julia's met somebody who she's got a pretty good relationship with. I don't think it's that serious at the moment, but she's a lot happier in herself. She's got a better outlook on life. Her opinion of men was, well, crap basically, and I think John's helping to rectify that, just gradually building up a good friendship.
I think I have reached the stage now where I could be ready for a full-time partner, and yes, the idea is very attractive. Providing that I can find someone who loves Ayla as much as I do, and the dogs, of course.
Is there anyone at all at the moment that could fit that bill for you?
Well, you never know who might come along, do you? That's it.
Ayla is now 22 months old.
I might not necessarily have put shoes on.
Julia and John's relationship has blossomed, and they are now living together.
John started to come to see me regularly when I was pregnant with Ayla. We were just come closer in the last couple of years. Feelings grown stronger, perhaps. Now my partner, I suppose you would call him.
It's on the wrong foot. Goes on that foot. Goes on your right foot.
Certainly a kind person, good-hearted, and likes Ayla a lot and is good with her and likes the boys, which is just as important. And of course is prepared to put up with me.
Why do you want to be with her? Why do you want to be a part of that, do you think?
Because I love her mostly. I just get on very well with Julia. We've always got on well, even when we was friends. We got on well together. And most people used to say, "Oh, she can be very snappy or very argumentative," but I've never found that at all. She's always been nice to me. Ayla, give Mummy a hat. Give Mummy a hat.
Sweet baby.
There you go.
Never mind.
Thank you, Mummy. We hope to get engaged at some time in the near future. Like, we haven't actually set a date. Where's your hat? Where's your hat gone? Oh, you got it. Oh. Put your hat on. There, love. What are you looking for?
After that last time, I swore I would never get involved with anybody again, but I just knew deep down that he wouldn't walk out on me, though at times, even now, I still worry. Not because he will walk out on me, I know he won't, but because it's happened before. And I I suppose the scars are still a bit real. Oh, thank you, Pools.
Oh.
Julia is she's very independent and very determined mother. She doesn't let her disability get her down. Sort of like her, she's gutsy sort of.
What are you up to? Let my plants alone. Leave my... No, don't pull that to bits, please, Bud. Good. Look, Puds. It's a rose bush. Look, pretty roses. I think it is already important that Ayla has a father figure around. Yeah. He can at least help me with discipline if I miss things. Like with a dog, you need to tell them off straight away or praise straight away.
Dad! 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 Dad!
Get it down. Can get your little chair. I look at her as my own daughter. I mean, she calls me daddy and all that, which I'm pleased about. And I mean, I've known her since she was born, so as far as she knows, I'm her real dad sort of thing. But I think of her as a daughter, yeah. Come on then, can you get the chair? Oh, that's it. It's nice to have Ayla, yeah, of course. But it's not everything. Julia's more important. And I mean, she means a lot to me. Julia does. She's very loving, really, but she doesn't like people to know that. She doesn't show her love a lot, but she is, really.
Why do you think that is?
Mainly because she's been hurt so many times before. She doesn't like to show her feelings too much. She's afraid that if she shows her feelings that I might sort of up and go or something. But it doesn't really bother me much because I think it's better if she's... I mean, somebody that shows their feelings more, they get too loving and too overpowering anyway. So Julia's very relaxed about our relationship and we get on better that way. Mummy. Okay, fall over. Okay. Oh dear. Let's have a look. You're all right.
Because you're taking a lot on. The people out there was like, God, blimey, he's taking a lot on.
Yeah.
3 carers have bitten the dust, you know, or 5 carers. Yeah.
Yeah, but they, I mean, with the carers, for them it's a job, and they only see Julia as somebody they're working for, whereas to me it's the person who I love, and I'm willing to give up things and do things for her to help her. I mean, she's had a bad life, she's been treated bad in the past. I just want to make her happy, that's all.
Oh. Smell that. It smells gorgeous. I suppose you could say John's offered me what I think is the first security I've really known for many years.
Do you love him?
Not prepared to say things like that.
Jelly's warm. I'll just warn you.
The jelly's warm. I bet the scanner's cold. It usually is. Ooh.
Alright, I should be pressing down with the probe a little bit to see the baby. You can actually see the lens of the eye. You can just make it out just around there.
I do think it's important that John's going to be around this time. He'd better stick around anyway. I certainly couldn't cope with 2 kids on my own. One would probably have to be put up for adoption. Oh, wow, that's it. It looks like birch.
Hope. I had doubts at first, nothing personal against John. Just because of her past relationships, I didn't want her to get hurt again. I think they're both really pleased that they were expecting another child. And the future looks good for them. Fingers crossed.
I feel more committed now, knowing that the baby's due, sort of thing, and hopefully we're going to get married. So really, yes, I'm very happy that it's worked out the way it has.
It's certainly nice knowing that I've found somebody who wants to stay and share the responsibilities with me, knowing that I can rely on his support and someone hopefully to protect me from social services.
Over this side. Bye.
One, two.
I went off shopping last Tuesday morning as usual, and when I came home I found 2 letters by the kettle from John to say that he was leaving. It said that he loved me, but I didn't love him. Because I never said it, apparently. I apparently never told him. I just didn't know he needed me to say things. I just didn't know it's going to haunt me. Because I didn't know. I thought I showed him. God, I'm going to live with this for the rest of my life, the regret of not saying. But with Marshall, I went overboard the other way and was and let my feelings show too much. I can't win. I just can't seem to do it right. It's so hard. I can't always tell what people are thinking because I can't see what their faces or hear what their voices. Hello, Cherub. This baby was planned. I was never intending to have it on my own. True, I still got Ayla, but she won't soften the blow of having to give a baby away that I don't want to give away. It's not that it will be taken away, it's just that I won't really have any choice because I know I can't give individual attention to two. Come on then, into bed, sweetheart. I loved Ayla so much. I just don't believe it. The trouble is, I've never had to cope with her on my own as a toddler. He's always been here to see that she was climbing where she shouldn't and getting hold of things that she shouldn't. But I don't know until it's too late. She keeps going in my cutlery drawer and she's ruined she's ruining my spoons, taking them outside and playing with them in the garden. And she's not stupid, she gets a stool and climbs up and gets what she wants off the draining board, and then she puts the stool back and I don't know how she gets things. I'm just going completely off my head. I get these mad screaming fits. There's holes in the loo door where I went mad the other day and just started kicking. Not screaming at Ayla, just sheer frustration, and I just can't handle the pain, that's all. It may be that I will have to let Ayla go, as I just don't think I could live with it. I just couldn't live with myself. No kiss, I'll see you a little later then, sweetie. See you later, Put-Puts. No kiss. It's probably not occurred to him that I might lose one or both children out of it. But I don't believe he doesn't care. He just thinks I don't love him. I've always loved him really, but perhaps I didn't realise how much until now. I just want a chance to prove it, that's all. I just want to save the relationship. We're so good together, we have a good life. Ayla needs him, the baby needs him. Why do I keep going wrong?
It's been an absolute shock that John has vanished off the scene. We don't know where he is, although I feel that he's not too far away. For Julia, it's an absolute disaster that he's gone at the point of her pregnancy that we're at. And my concerns are for Ayla, that she's being left while Julia tries to sort out in her own mind the distress that's going on for her. My main concern for her at the moment is that we provide her with some help while she is so distressed. And Lisa's going to stay overnight for a few nights so that we can make sure that Ayla's safe, that Julia has got some support around and that she doesn't feel quite so isolated. But that's only short term. If John doesn't return, the childcare team will be thinking very seriously about what's best for Ayla. Ayla's future will be in jeopardy unless Julia gets herself very quickly together. And at the moment she's in no fit state to do it. Just a few days ago, John had actually phoned into my office to say that he was going to be making contact again, and it's really super at the moment that they've talked to each other, and John has been back over the weekend and is staying. So things look a little bit easier between them. They now have got a lot of work to do on their relationship so that they can really sort out how the future's going to unfold for them.
It wasn't a pretty happy day the day John came home. I don't think either Ayla or I could believe it, or the dogs. Ayla was ecstatic. Well, we both were, I suppose. I think in a lot of ways it did us good, and in some ways I'm glad it happened, because it made me realise how much I cared. How much I felt I needed him. I can now relax and we can get on with life together as we had originally planned. And hopefully make another person well as happy as I can. As he's making me happy.
John is a very caring person and loves Ayla very deeply. That's been quite obvious as I've been in and out of the family. I think Ayla was very sad, and now John's come back. The difference in her is lovely to see. But he will need a lot of help and support now, and so will Julia as they begin to sort out what actually went wrong and how they can make sure it doesn't go wrong again. Social services are a continuing factor in the story.
Since John has been around, social services have faded quite a lot into the background. And they have assured me they won't be interfering too much with this baby. They had better not anyway. As I don't think interference would be taken kindly by either of us. And I don't want their size 20 feet in the house again, not like last time.
Since filming ended, Julia and John have married and are now living happily with Ayla and their new son, Ricky.